Well, welcome. Okay, make sure it's working. Got a whole new mic set up tonight. So, don't know what's working and what isn't. We bought an amp for our microphone, so maybe we can hear it a little bit better and come across a little bit louder. So we're not sure exactly how it's working until we play back the VOD to check and see how it sounds. So we're just kind of winging it here. I can hear myself in my monitor earphone, but not by much. Of course, I've got it turned down in my monitor earphone, and my monitor speakers are a little bit. They have to be very quiet because the amp did boost the sensitivity of the microphone. So that's going to be a little bit new to get used to. Well, as you can see from tonight's opening screen, we're not exactly in Kansas anymore. Let's look around and see what we can find. First, let's pull back a little bit, and we can see that we're on something large. And the first thing, the advice they give us is beware of jet blasts, propellers, and rotors. We're on CV 76, in this case CVN, which they didn't have at the time, but we're going to use anyway because we can launch from this. At least we hope we can. And while we've got sound, we need to be getting about it. So, at least the first steed of tonight, and I mean first steed because we're going to change once we get to Hugh. Our first aircraft is the venerable A6. It has several derogatory names in the service, and we can't say any of them here. So we're just take our word for it. They're not polite. Okay, let's jump into the cockpit here and see what we can find. First, we need to reach back here, cut the battery on, how about some generators? Fuel on. Okay, now we need to change camera views for a quick second. Instruments. Because what I need is to get to these buttons here. And they're apparently working here. At least I think they are. Something's moving. Okay, we need to turn our oxygen on apparently. And the master caution is lit, means our brakes are on. So we're just going to wait a second for that to tool up. The engine's spooling up nicely. Get to where we can see things here. Reduce our engines to idle. Yeah, let's scoot a little bit closer here. We're gonna keep our wings folded for just a minute. We're going to taxi up to the catapult. Okay, brakes released. Starting to come forward on the throttles, getting a little bit of creepage on the deck. Let's turn forward. We're not going to launch from the waist catapults. We're going for a forward cat launch. We'll launch from Cat 2 here. Going to roll across the blast deflector. Gonna hold up a second. Push some buttons here. Get our flight crew in place. Lean up so we can see our deck handler. Let's come forward a little bit. He'll tell us where he wants us to go. To the right. A little bit more to the right. Whoa. Okay, now he wants us to spread our wings out. Gotta get rid of that control for just a minute. There. Now here come our wings out. How about that, dude? You happy with that? Load our supercarrier back on. Controls. Okay, we hit the check box again. Get our engine spooling up here. Okay, we've got the green box, so we're ready to go here. Flaps coming down. Okay, let's push the check box. And release the brakes. Okay, he's giving us the go. Here we go. And we're up. Gear coming up. Flaps up. Close our canopy, which we should have done before launch. Trim us back down to where we're kind of level. And now we turn, well, we need to turn west. Pull our speed back a bit. We don't need to be going that fast. I do need a map, however, because I get lost easy. Thank you. I saw it. I just wish I'd remembered to put it shut before launch. It's nice in a Wildcat to do that, but not good in an A6. See, map. Okay, come on out. Well, maybe it's, well, it didn't load the way I was hoping, I don't think. There it is, it's north of us. We're, as Murph would say, we're going the wrong way. So we're coming around back to the north. Give me a little bit of feedback, Colonel Fork. How's the mic sounding? Is it a little bit louder this week? Now that's getting us back a little bit more, you say. Okay, I've actually got the overhead. I can do it this week. That amp really helps. It has a lot of background noise because it picks up my computer fans. A little bit of up trim here. Come on, a little bit more. There we go. Now we can leave you alone for just a second. And we can push that button and see about that. How's that sound? I'm just tickled that the amp's actually working. About the same. Let's try something here. There's a little bit more ambient sound. How about that? Come on, trim up, trim up. Right at about 250 knots. 264 to be exact. Okay, Now we want to turn to about 270. Our first stop of the night is Da Nang. A little bit more to the left. Yeah, I'm not used to my meters going this high actually on the scale, so got to get used to it. There. Well, that's one thing. Okay, we're in just manual mode here, and look how smooth she trims up. Increase our throttle just a little bit. Yeah, we're at a whopping 600 feet out above sea level here, so we need to pay attention. We don't want to hit a high wave or anything. But then again, these aircraft were made to fly slow and low. Well, not so slow actually, but they were meant to fly fast and low. For this trip, you'll notice we're not carrying any ordnance, just fuel pods. So we're already seeing bumps on the horizon. So land can't be too far away. The Navy is providing us our chariot for this first leg. But the U.S. Army will be providing the rest of the transport for tonight. Although, let's see, judging by time factors, okay, it's predicting 18 minutes to Da Nang, and it's 36 minutes from there to Hue. So let's just go ahead and get some Huey practice from there. We'll just go ahead and pick up our Army rides at Da Nang. So one thing about the A6, she is a pretty aircraft in flight. Some would say she's almost so ugly that she's pretty. There's Colonel Fork about maybe 500-600 meters behind us. So we're just going to cruise on to Da Nang. We're going to pick up our chopper and some supplies, and then we're going to fly up to Hue, and then we're going to turn west and head into the mountains. And for the first part of our mountain journey, we'll just cruise at a pretty steady altitude if we can maintain it. And then we're going down to treetop height, which is something the Huey is, well, known for. It's a helicopter. And I'm tickled because it's one of the few helicopters I can actually fly. Or at least try to fly. I don't do a good job at it. Yeah, she does. Well, at least when I was growing up, we called them swifts, and they lived under the eaves of the houses. Little bluebirds with the swallowtails. They are a species of swallow. Get all agitated when you'd come into the carport or the garage. But as soon as you settle down, so did they. Here comes Colonel Ford. You see his speed brakes pop out there for a second as he tries to match us up in speeds here. Yeah, and I know Greta's gonna hate us, but these aren't exactly clean fuel-burning aircraft. Now all we need is the little fruit basket to hang onto this little pokey thing that sticks out of our nose, and we're good to go. Of course, this is a short leg. This is only 100 miles. We're not even pushing it on speed. We're trying to maintain a nice, even about 250 knots. We've let our altitude creep up to about 1,200 feet. Give her a little down angle. And what's fun about the A6 is it goes everywhere. This aircraft was used all the way up through Desert Storm. So it wasn't an uncommon sight to see this all throughout the Persian Gulf. And let's see, let's look right a second into our weapons officer's seat. None of the weapons stuff works because it's Microsoft, but you can at least get a look at what the cockpit looks like. It's a fairly good copy, even if it's non-functional. There's our other little maps if we want to look at them. It shows us where we are relative to our course line and anybody that's around us. Sometimes I forget that they're there. Need to stop letting her creep up here and aim to get on down. It'd be nice to have a reference besides the water. Okay, now we're coming down at a pretty decent clip. There's 1,000 feet. Let's see if we can get down to about 500. The altitude that these could most fly best at was between 50 and 300 feet. They had a terrain following radar that could predict where they were, their course track, and what any altitude obstructions there would be on their path. That looks good. And it takes a skilled pilot like Colonel Fork to stay that close together. Watch our climb indicator. A little bit too much up. I'm just glad she holds the course so well. Now we're definitely seeing land on the horizon. The mountains are poking their heads above the water. Because it's saying we've only got 36 miles to go now. Keep having to tilt my bifocals up and down to look at my altimeter. This is why the Navy and the Air Force usually insist on pilots with 20/20 vision to fly. Now, some information on Da Nang, right quick. The METAR is predicting winds 110 at 3 knots, so we'll be trying to land 17 left or 17 right. 17 right is closer to the facilities. Let's take another closer look at the airport here. Well, there's good facilities on both sides and plenty of parking available. We taxi down to Bravo. We'll be right there where the facilities are, and we can make our exchange there. Okay, we're cruising right at about 250. We need to come left a little bit. Although that the video HSI is it is bright. Just trying to keep a monitor, of course, to all my streaming stuff at the same time I'm flying the plane. And not using an autopilot, it's tough. But it's a sim. That's what the pause button is for. Might make you look stupid, but better stupid than dead. There's sometimes, no matter how much you push the pause button, it's not going to save you. When you stall at 200 feet, you're going down, and not where you wanted to. Well, that's the thing about this country. All you've got to do is take a quick jog into the hills and you can get rid of that. Okay, I'm at 750 feet and trying to hold her steady here. Good speed, good altitude hold here. We're good. We're way off course, but we're good. Of course, we need to angle north just a little bit so that we've got a good approach angle to the runway. The city of Da Nang is 12 miles away. It's got a beautiful bay that it's in. Well, Colonel Fork, if you want to get rid of your ordnance, I'm sure there's bound to be some guy named Charlie that is really happy to play catch with you. Let's see. Oh, there it is. I've got my pilot. There's the co-pilot. There he is, looking at his radar. And now we are rapidly approaching the city of Da Nang. Add a little bit of throttle in. You don't need it, but better to add it than not have it. As I try to get eyeballs on the airport. Which is off to my south. Yep. And at least we don't have to worry about what Mongo might be pitching back. There's the airport, at least. We'll take a look at it. We'll loop around those hills to the west and come in for a landing. And lots of Americans are familiar with this airbase. Start pulling our throttles back. Kind of bumpy over at the land here. Now we got to go around the mountains. These aren't mountains, these are hills. And once on the ground, we've got our inevitable delay as we transfer our cargo and supercargo into our helo. I'm not counting my chickens before they hatch. Got to land first. Speed brakes out a second. One notch of flaps. Gears down. There's the airport. Keep some airspeed on here. Don't want to descend too much. This is going to be a short turn to final. There's the runway. Beep our turn. Little bit of overturn. Couple of stutters. Now apply some brakes. I just passed my taxiway, but we can get it to it from up here. Well, we didn't miss it after all. That was bravo. which is where we wanted to go. Now we come over here. We can watch Colonel Fort come in. Get our brakes set. I'm sure the Marines appreciate it, especially if you've still got your ordnance aboard. They like to see that green stuff. And Colonel Fork was using a good aero braking technique. Me taxi up here and clear the taxiway and get into a parking stand. Set our parking brake. Our phone goes beep beep and lets us know that we have useless information. Uh-oh. We left a black mark on, and we weren't even drag racing. Well, from here we need to push some buttons and change aircraft. So let's start now. Back to the main menu. That was a very nice leg, Colonel Fork. Real brilliant flying, sir. Normally I wimp out and go autopilot, but today I just felt like going hand flying the whole way. And you could see it was a pretty easy trip, even on hand flying. Goes where you want to go, flies where you want to fly. Normally these guys don't do the best job in the world with their flight model, but on this one they did pretty good. So it's a fun fly. Whether it does perfectly what the airplane did back in the day, doesn't really matter, as long as it's fun to fly. Okay, Da Nang. Let's change aircraft here. All the way down to T. Oh, going the wrong way. Again. I need army rights. Look down here. And I need this one with the black horse cav on it. My Uncle Bill actually rode in several of these helicopters when he was over there. He says, never again. He hates helicopters. He likes it down safe on the ground. Yeah, we need all the fuel we can get. Okay, we want to go from Da Nang. Had a little fussing with the clicking. It wouldn't want it, didn't want to take it. Okay, I need to go from Da Nang to Hue, which is 36 nautical miles away. The airport is called Hong Thuy. Okay, that's our next stop. We got to pick up some more supplies there. And then we'll be flying to here, VKSN, Sahn. Okay, everything ready? Yeah. I click fly and see what happens. I know what I've got to do once it gets settled. I've got to further change my controls. Let's get in and parked first. Eat the apple one bite at a time. Never beg trouble too far in advance. There are too many times I've been let down by doing just that. What's weird is, now I don't know if you can hear it, but I can hear it. I can hear my clock ticking over the microphone. Like I said, the amp really, it really boosted the sensitivity of the mic. And the clock is dead behind the microphone. See, I need to turn you off for a moment. And press the escape key, controls options. That one. No, I don't want default. I want helos. Thank you. Apply and save. Go back. Resume. Okay, now we go. Got our little hula girl. Okay, let's run the checklist, folks. That's what they're there for. Before starting the engine. This is what I get for not studying my manual perfectly, because it doesn't have the little telltale lights. Yeah, here we go. Oh, it does have persistent memory, because the last time I was in the Hevo, I had the weapons pods mounts activated and the doors off, and it remembered. Hello, Viper Strike. Oh, heading out to Halifax. Colonel Fork's familiar with that trip. There's some needles starting to move. Getting a little bit of bounce here. Tell it to hush itself. Put some more throttle in. Add a little bit of collective. More throttle. Watching that rotor gauge here. Making sure our collective is flat. There we go, we're in the green. Now, I found it the other day. Which one turns off my master caution? Let's bring up our map. All right, that gives us at least a direction to go in. Okay, rotors are to speed. Start bringing our collective in. Counterbalance our torque here with the rudder pedals. And up we go. Throttle coming forward. Despite our sudden spins. I said I could fly it. I didn't say I flew it well. All right. And off toward Hugh we go. Got some hills to go over. Let's get some altitude here. My engine is trying to quit on me, which means I've done something wrong somewhere. So we're going down. And kerplunk. Let's do this again. Start on the runway and make sure everything's turned on right, because we forgot something. Knowing me, there's a fuel valve open somewhere or closed somewhere that I should have opened. Now, to avoid a little bug I've got to change liveries. Well, I've actually driven past one of these. Let's try this again. Pick a runway. And we're flying up to Hong Thai. Let's try flying. Let's try to do this again. The operative word is try. I just hope running back and forth like this doesn't blow my audio on my game system here. Uh-huh. Well, there's my sound. So at least I know that's working. Okay, now we've got some throttle coming in. Some collective. More throttle. Counter torque. There we go. Let's try it up. Helps to push the right button. Come on. No, don't bounce. Man, it is just not responding to the throttle tonight. Well, maybe a Huey was a bad idea. If you can't control it, it doesn't do you any good. Okay, I get about 100 feet in the air and my torque drops off. I'm just not doing something right. There we go. Let's try this. Fingers crossed. Colonel Forks airborne. Watching our airspeed here because we're over torquing it a bit. Now we're facing our first terrain obstacle of the night. To get over this hill. It's tricky trying to balance the torque in this helicopter. And this is the, believe it or not, this is the easiest one I've found to fly. I love the Hughes 500, and I'd love to be able to fly it at least this smoothly. Yeah, 2,000 feet should be high enough. At least to fit through this little saddle here. Go over the need to go over the power lines here, please. Do not want to get tangled up in high tension cables. Okay, watch the airspeed. A little bit of up nose to slow us down a little bit. Drift a little bit to the left to try to get back onto course here. Ever since I built a model kit of this helicopter when I was a younger fella, I've always loved the Huey, you know, because it was always the helicopter that was overhead when I was growing up. But a helicopter tour is definitely the way to see this country. Because this place is beautiful. Now I wouldn't want to go through the heat or the bugs, but I do love the way the countryside looks. And we've got to get where we're going eventually tonight. We've got to go way up into those mountains. My arm is going to be a one tired cookie tomorrow. Maybe I should have clicked on the surfboards. There's nothing like the I think the guys at Taug's Hangar have really, I don't know where they captured the sounds from, but I think they did a really good job with them. And the rotor blur is just right. Follow the road, it always knows. Yep, 500 feet is plenty of altitude above the ground. The trick is going to be staying right at 500 feet. While still giving her enough gas to keep going. On the bright spot, it says we've only got 17 miles to go on this leg, which means a break for my arm. And even the arm that's doesn't work so good is getting a workout, because it's controlling our throttle and collective. get back to the road I'm following. Because it should lead us through a pass up here so we don't have to go over the hills too much. There's the road. May be a 2-lane road, but it's pretty fancy and very curvy. Shake my wrist a little bit, gripping the joystick a little bit too tightly. Nervous much? Yeah, about 23. Yeah, I've got it assigned to a button, Colonel Fork. It's still not easy getting it balanced right. Okay, and we've lost our sound intermittently again. Here we go. Let's play that game again. And with the monitor off, I've got no game sound at all. Because the microphone is now just too sensitive. So maybe we can cheat. Now I can hear the dang chopper now. Okay, 11 miles to go. We're just across the bay here. Ooh, a wildcat. They do appear everywhere. I've got one more cable I'm going to try and replace. And if that don't work, it's just a Windows thing. Because before I got a computer with a different version, I had no trouble connecting. But since I've had nothing but trouble. It's like it just doesn't see the channel. Okay, it's off to our right up here. And these guys used to, they navigate like this, easy as pie. I guess if you flew back and forth between two places enough times, you'd learn the route. It keeps flickering on and off. Come on, pick it up, pick it up. And now where are we going? Let's get back on course. Only 5 miles from the base, so we need to pick it up to watch the pace here. And do try to stay out of the rice paddies. Now, I really hope that was fireworks I just heard outside and not what else it sounded like. Well, I think I see my base. Well, there's the airport light. So here we go. A little bit more left anti-torque here. There's the sound back. Start reducing our collective. Pick us a spot out. Bring our nose up. Start bleeding off airspeed. This is where actual working eye tracking might come in handy. Gently. Gently. All right, there we're down. And we didn't break anything further. Ow. Oh boy. Yeah, you be quiet. I am glad they give us that override button there. Okay, while we're here, we're going to top off our fuel. Now, let's see. Let's do this on the ground instead of in the air. Flight plan. Delete. Where are we? Because I didn't look. VVPB. VVPB. Wait for it. Wait for it. Do it again. Okay, and where we're going is up in the mountains. VKSN. VKSN. Sahn. Okay, that's good. Yeah, I'm getting a magenta line, so we got something to follow here. All right. Well, I'm going to mute my microphone and take a bio break for a quick second. And we're back. Scoot our chair up here a little bit and bump our gut. Okay, let's get ready for the long haul here. It's 58 long miles to Sahn. Everybody strap in back there. Man, there's nothing looking better than that. Okay, got it. Start bringing in some throttle here. Collective coming up. Our throttle, collective. Start kicking in our anti-torque pedals. And up we go. Oh, that was a smoother takeoff than the last one. Maybe we're starting to figure something out here. Okay, 58 miles that way. And now we bid the beautiful city of Hugh goodbye. And we head on into the mountains. Okay, that's too much throttle. Keep on a little bit more way here. About 115 if we can keep it there. Oh boy. There we've got her trimmed up a little bit better because she's responding to just a little bit of the touch here. One of the few times I received any kind of actual real-world flight instruction, man said, there's no reason to grab the joystick or yoke so hard. Just, it should respond to the featherest easy of touches. You should be able to do it with one hand. one hand, both feet, and every eye you could find. The first, the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth, and the sixth. I don't even know if this is going to work. I never tried it before. Nope, it's not there. She ain't lit up, folks. All right, now let's see if I can reach over here. Excuse my feet for just a second. Try to fly straight. Because I got buttons to push. Oh, great. Amazing what that microphone's picking up. I just hope none of y'all can hear it. Okay, I want to stay under the cloud layer above the rocks. My course is through those mountains. I don't want to go through those hills. I'll try for the little saddle between the two hills over there. I keep reaching for my trim wheel to adjust altitude, and that's not what you want to do in helo. Despite what our magenta line is telling us, it's not what the ground is telling us. We got to fly the terrain, not the map. Those treetops are getting awful close. Okay, come on, just behave yourself for a minute. All right. Should get us back on course. Whether I can get myself back on course here is a different matter entirely. We still got 36 miles to go. And the terrain is going to get worse. Once that airspeed, we don't want it to get too high. There's a red mark on that thing for a reason. I never said I was in it for the adoration. So, not surprising. I'm just tickled that I've actually been able to get the Huey this far and not pack it into the side of a mountain. No. Well, yes, maybe it'll work. Field expedience here. A little bit more collective, please. I'm getting awful low there. I was wondering why I wasn't hearing anything. I clicked on it, didn't hear anything. Okay, we will have to climb some more, it looks like. From here on out, we do need altitude reporting. When we go in, we want to let other people know where we're at. Use the valleys whenever you can. Nothing down there but jungle. And keep watching your horizon indicator. You're not supposed to fly with a tilt. "25 miles to go, yay!" Hopefully we're high enough to keep the pesky rocks from coming up to hit us from the ground. Just looking, the clouds look like they're touching the tops of these hills up here. It's not what I want to get into. Cut our collective back just a little bit, descend a little bit. And then we're going to start pretty much hugging the valleys here. Okay, that looks a little bit easier to going over there. We'll try that valley. Okay, it looks relatively easier. It's taking us off course. And now we pick up an updraft. Hooray. And looks like the bear is going to get over the mountain here. And when we do, we need to swing back toward our course. Watch that airspeed. Don't let it get too much. To a quick map check. Yes, this river appears to be going where we want to go. Lose some altitude now. Okay, we are 16 miles out of Sahn and in the river valley. It's time to get low and get quick. Or at least as quick as the Huey gets. pretty much follow this river. Just pay attention to your terrain and pop up over the trees. And then drop back down again. And this pilot obviously thinks he's John Rambo. And of course, now's the time my nose itches. And the thing is, to get to Sahn base, you gotta climb out of the valley. Sahn base is up on the plateau above the lowlands. Up we go a little bit. Of course, this is what made this a more hazardous approach. Nine miles, this is pretty much the Sahn Valley. Almost see the hill the base is on from here. Almost. That's not it. But you can see why this kind of was an important place. Several valleys come together here. Lots of river valleys join up here. Okay, 5 miles out. They used to get brave and land Hercules here too. Maybe the hill I was looking at was right all along. They just weren't high enough to clearly see the runways. Runway, singular. And at least when I picked it up, the Sahn scenery was available at flightsim.to. You can see that the road, that the population center follows the road, and the road is not following the river. So we need to come up before we can land. Oh, there's the base. There's the fire base. Start pulling back our throttles and collective here. Kick our nose up. There's a Hercules below us. Now let's see if we can actually land the helicopter on the runway, or at least at the base like we're supposed to. I'm not that good. I can never land where those Chinooks are. And we've landed at Sahn. Hooray! We can deliver the mail and the box or two of supplies here. And that was a sweaty 2 hours of flying. And for a change, I never used a bit of autopilot the whole night. That's a new one for me. I just hope everything worked out well. And we've lost our sound again. That's typical. But we're where we're going, so that doesn't matter. Doesn't matter now. Okay. Now let's see if we can find somebody to raid here. Which mouse? That mouse. Let's see. Anybody on to raid? No, none of my gang's on. And then the sound comes back. How about that? Well, Kapustik, I'm generally on Sunday nights at 7 Central Standard Time, or in this case, Central Daylight Time, 000 Zulu. And I've never, to tell you the truth, I've never figured out how to toot my own horn on other people's Discords and stuff to let them know when I broadcast on their Discords. So if I ever figure that out, I'll do it. But look for me on Sundays at 7 if you're interested in coming along. But like tonight, welcome to Sahn. There's an old buff that's been being salvaged. Got several Quonset huts. Got Chinooks up the road and a big herky that's parked on the grass here. But you can see that the airport is up on a plateau and overlooks the valley below. And there are hills all around it, which meant that it was a very popular place for a while. Okay, I'm going to check that. It should not say canceled until further notice anymore. If it is, I've done something wrong somewhere. And I'll double check that and make sure that it's not right anymore. So, meanwhile, let's get this little show wrapped up here. And for those of you that flew along, thank you very much. Excellent job of flying for everybody. And for those of you that watched, I don't know why you put up with it, but I'm glad you did. And I hope you enjoyed the Huey, because, like I said, this is one of the few helicopters I can actually fly. The beginning was awful rough back at Da Nang, but we eventually kicked it and got it under control. I need to break out the manual and really study the cockpit layout and cockpit flows, because my startup procedure is horrible. But in the meantime, we're going to wish everybody a good night. Enjoy your Sunday evening. And for those of you overseas who are watching on the VOD, we hope you enjoy your Mondays or the rest of the week. And we'll get off of here and free up everybody's weekend. What's that button?